Yeah.
Thank you.
I know it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of promotional work, a lot of heart and soul and spirit went into this record. So, if you can, please get into some of like, for example, the title, Pretty Dark Things. What is that exactly a reference to? And then also the album cover itself is just grabbing. It grabs you instantly. You have this, African American male holding a white baby, seemingly breastfeeding the baby. What is the symbolism, or the sign rather, of that?
Well, basically, kind of like with Pretty Dark Things, it's kind of like a take on, like the things that are not spoken of. And yeah, even like you mentioned the cover. Usually the whole archetype of a white male holding a black baby, you automatically think, oh, is this guy saving this baby from some third world country, or the child has some kind of disease or something like that.
Right.
And with this, also even with the whole archetype, with the whole black mammy, or like the Bagger Vance, that's what I call it, where it's like the older black, icon figure, whatever, just has to lead the young white person into, some type of personal experience or whatnot. And basically with this, I wanted to, have like a young black male, which is always just pure imagery is always with, almost a negative, not a negative context, but also like, okay, what is he up to? Right. Versus like maybe he adopted that child, or maybe it's weird how people can see it, and the reaction itself is the beauty of it. Because even as a black person, I guess the whole impetus of behind the cover, I guess the idea is one day I was in a grocery store. This is a store behind it, and I saw it was an interracial couple. And there's nothing wrong with that. But basically it was a black male, and his girlfriend, she happened to be white, and then I guess she had a child from a previous relationship, and it was a white child.
Oh, wow.
And then the child, was calling for the child to call the black. I mean, he was questionably, he was unquestionably black. I mean, it wasn't he might be this, that, or other.
Elephant in the room.
clearly, regular, average black male. And the white child was calling him, hey, daddy, was, he was nurturing the child. And even everybody that passed by was kind of weird. It's like, ooh, like you don't, even I guess when people see Theo holding, what is his wife's name again? I forget the model or whatever. I'm totally going off topic, I guess.
No,
a little bit, but basically that was the whole impetus of the whole thing. Just like that visceral reaction to it. Just kind of you see it, and why do you feel the way you feel?
And it's effective, and I think that it matches along with this running motif within the group about the elephant, this elephant in the room, but at the same time, you have the political and social issues that are elephant in the room, but how do you eat an elephant piece by piece? And I thought that was quite interesting that, the logo is like an elephant in different pieces,
Right.
So that's where the beauty of that is you can take it any way you want to, or, somebody's always going to take something different, and that's what a sign is, a sign might be totally different from me, and then it might be from my DJ fellow right here.
Well, right. I mean, I think that's the whole thing. Part of the experience, part of cultivating your new experience, which Seiss touched on earlier, is that where we're coming from. And again, this may seem like really trite or simple, but like, we're reacting to our experiences, and that's what we're translating through the music, And then, so how someone reacts to the cover, the title, or the lyrics, or the music, essentially that's all we can represent as an extension of ourselves. And that way, I know, again, this sounds like typical sort of like musician crap or whatever, but that's the best summation of what like four people coming together with totally, different ideas, bring them to the table, and making something that we feel is cohesive and representative of each of us collectively, And I think that cover sort of embodies that because, I do remember one of Clyde's first, like, artistic sort of perspectives on it was, I would really love to show this loving embrace, of a young black man to a white baby. And I think that those terms initially, too, his initial thought about where the cover goes and what that should represent, I think I mean, a lot of people would already shut off the concept of loving Embrace when they first look at it, although that was his first reaction and his first thought, you know? So I think that that's already an interesting play on, I don't know, I'm not really verbalizing it really well, but...
No, I understand.
Yeah.
And also too, we didn't do it to be shocking. We did
I didn't take that
to be more contemplative.
Yeah.
So you see the cover, and it's not like, oh, we just wanted to, throw this in people's face. It's more like, well, how do you feel about it, and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, kind of open up a discussion.
Exactly.
So talking about the songs of the album, really great stuff. I'm a big fan of Money Parade and Elephant Roam. And I just had a question for Spec and Enoch. I'm kind of wondering what were your kind of musical influences with the production on this? Because it's definitely kind of a different sound. It's not something that you hear every day, and so I was kind of wondering what you were looking at. I'm not asking you, like, reveal your samples or anything.
Yeah, don't reveal the secrets, but just kind of give us an idea.
You know.
Well, I think on this album, Spec and I made a very conscious effort to try to expand upon our production techniques, and I don't know, it seems like we both started out, with the obvious sampling and, using breaks and stuff like that. And I don't know, over time we've just evolved, and both of us are just huge music fans, and we listen to all kinds of stuff, and I think we try to incorporate, little bits of just actual musicianship into what we're doing, not to take away anything from, sample-based production, because that is takes a lot of talent to do that. But I don't know, I feel like we focus a lot on incorporating instruments and, like less traditional hip-hop things, such as, instead of sampling a record, maybe we would get a friend of ours to play something and then sample that. So, I don't know, I feel like we just kind of push ourselves to try new things.
There's some African influence in this, on this.
Yeah, there's
some High Life.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of listening to High Life and Juju and a lot of West African music. Akin, one of the MCs who's not on the phone with us now, is he's from Benin, and his cousin Femi, who's also a vocalist on the first track, kind of led us into his archive of West African vinyl, actually, which is incredibly hard to locate and incredibly sought after and nearly impossible to find. And he gave us access to some of it to sample from that at least he thought we would enjoy and use, which is actually what came from that is The Runaway and Color. Both of those came from some of those records in that archive. But yeah, so in terms of influences, that would definitely be one of the sources. But the thing is that, like Dave was saying, or Enoch was saying, is that we all listen to so much music, and again, this goes back to like the multi-perspective sort of thing, is that so much of our time is spent discussing and listening to music and sharing it with each other, and there's all kinds of stuff that we were listening to over the course of these years, and our tastes have grown or ventured off into other directions, but the thing is that we're always trying to translate that into the music, so anything from like, there was a lot of craft work for a while, and a lot of African music.
Any Moroder?
Giorgio Moroder? Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean that's been a given for a while, and I mean anything really, Brazilian jazz and some bossa stuff, and I could go on and on. Lots of prog rock, lots of synth stuff from the '80s. Akin went into this whole synth pop phase from the '80s, and like really into Kate Bush for a little while. So it's just every other day we're talking about new records that we're listening to, and I think that that's the whole thing, is that we're always just so in awe of other musicians, especially those that came before us, and we're just trying to synthesize that into something that represents us in some way. Again, I really feel bad because I feel like I keep repeating these really kind of like trite, repetitive lines, but I'm trying to sum up the dynamic as easily as possible.
Okay. So is there anything that you would like to say to the Harvard community at large, as far as the people that are, just starting to listen to your material, because we're definitely bumping it up here at WHRB FM. So is there anything that you would like to communicate to the community and that nature?
I'd just like to say thanks to everybody that supports us, and feel free to contact us through our MySpace or website or whatever. We'd love to hear feedback from people, and hopefully we get a chance to come up to Boston, the Harvard area, and maybe do some shows or something.
Yeah, definitely let us know if you're up in town. We'd love to get another interview with you. Have you guys come to the studio maybe?
That would
be great.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, like Dave was saying, we're incredibly thankful that you guys are even playing the music and that everyone's, or at least people are listening to it. And there's nothing we appreciate more than feedback, and it's really easy to do these days. So anyone who wants to reach out, we're always happy to listen and to discuss, and always happy to perform too. So whatever support we can get, we're thankful for.
Smoking mirrors don't fall for cheap tricks. So what you want? Bad music, that bump, they give it up for these two